strategic alignment, value delivery, risk management, resource optimization, performance measurement, and assurance of process integration are six kind of outcome what information security governance should deliver and what any typical organization are expecting from information security governance. Let's have a look in this video. Hello team, welcome to the another session of a CISM certification preparation where we have already covered many topics. Let me just show you. So as a part of a chapter number 1 section A, we have already covered all the task statement, and as a part of a section number 2, we have already covered the introduction part. We have already covered the information security governance overview part. We have already saw in detail about importance of information security governance. Now next topic is outcome of information security governance. Let's have a look. So let me just put this book aside. So as a part of outcome of information security governance, we need to make sure certain things. Let me just write the chapter name first. So this is, we are talking about chapter number 1, which is information security governance. All right, now the topic is outcomes of, whenever information security governance comes, we used to say ISG. Okay, so just keep a note. Now as a part of information security governance, we'll be having a multiple elements. Okay, what these elements is all about, let's see. So let's say this is our information security governance document, and this contains multiple elements. What are those elements? We'll discuss in detail. Now the objective or why these elements required, when these elements are in place, it will provide senior management assurance of what? That the direction and the intent of information security governance is adequate and effective, that it will protect what? Protect the organization's vital information asset. All right, so information security governance include multiple elements. We'll discuss those elements in detail, but the existence of that element will giving the confidence and giving the assurance to the senior management that the direction and intent mentioned in that information security governance is adequate and effective, that it will protect the organization asset. Now what are those elements? Let's see. We can say here elements or the objective of information security governance is to develop. Okay, develop. Next what? Implement. And third thing is to manage. What? Very important. The whole purpose of this information security governance is security program. Okay, so basically information security governance must be having some elements or some objectives. The whole purpose of those things is to develop, implement and manage security programs. Now this element or the outcome of this security element or the security program will be like 6 basic outcome. Number 1 is strategic alignment. First is strategic alignment. Second is risk management. All right. Third is value delivery. Fourth is resource optimization. And fifth is performance measurement. REMENT. And the last one is assurance of integrity. Alright, so that is assurance of process integration. Let's go all these 6 elements or objective of information security governance one by one. Now let me just write the first one. So the first is strategic alignment. Okay, so this strategic alignment is what is going to be aligned. So this is basically aligning information security with whom? With business strategy. See friends, whatever we are doing as a part of a security program, it should be aligned with existing business organization strategy or the strategic requirement. This strategy alignment must be supported by certain things. What are those? The number one is, let me write this as an A. This is what we called as a security requirement. The very first thing you need to understand what is the requirement, and that requirement, whatever you are mentioning, is a part of information security governance. It should be thoroughly developed to provide what? Governance on what must be done. Governance of 3 things. What must be done. That's one. Second thing is, you must know how to measure the things what is supposed to do. If, as I said in earlier video, if you cannot measure anything, you cannot achieve that. You never know where are we know. So measurement of when. And the third thing is, you should also know when it has been achieved. When it has been achieved. So you should know 3 things. As a part of a security requirement, you need to develop the governance part, where you should know what must be done and what are the parameters or what are the things you need to take care as a part of a measurement, and when it has been achieved. Number two will be your security solution. Alignment of security solution. So here you need to take into account You need to consider what? First, you need to understand the culture. Second thing is you need to understand the governance style. Alright. It should not be like that you are in different direction the way we are doing as of now in your organization. Otherwise, it will going to be a big disaster. You should also know the technology, what we are going to you or what you are planning to propose or what they are existing they are using. And the last is you should know structure of the organization. All right, so these are the few things you should know as a part of outcome of information security governance under strategic alignment. And the last but not the least, you should also know the investment part. You should know investment should be appropriate. Okay, appropriate means what? Means it should be aligned with first enterprise strategy. Whatever the existing enterprise strategy, it should be aligned by that. Second thing is enterprise operation. It should be aligned with your enterprise operations as well. And most important thing, you should know the investment should be at that place where you have a well defined what? Three things. First is risk, where you know there is a risk or threat. And third thing is where we have vulnerabilities. Okay, so your investment should be aligned with existing enterprise strategy, enterprise operations, and where you know there are chances of big risk, threat, or there is any vulnerabilities. So that's all about the first point out of 6, which is strategy alignment. All right, now let's go to the second point. Second point is risk management. Now, under risk management, what will be the outcome someone is expecting your stakeholder or your senior management are expecting from the information security governance is you have to make sure that certain things are measured appropriately. Means appropriate measure of what? All the risks which is supposed to be mitigated. Okay, and you also need to take care as a part of a risk management to reduce RDUCE. Okay, to reduce potential impact on any information resources. All right, so what are the things we are covering here? We are covering here, you need to make sure you have collective understanding. You must be having a good understanding of organizations existing threat, vulnerabilities, And as I said earlier, as a part of a strategic alignment is risk. Alright. Second point will be understanding of risk exposure. That means you should know if in case of any consequences where certain compromise happen in any risk, then what are the potential impact. Okay, so understanding of risk exposure and potential consequences of compromise. So you need to make sure that your information security governance strategy or a program must contain the outcome that will showcase the risk exposure part, where you know what will be the potential consequences in case any risk exposed or compromised. Next is awareness. Of course, we should do certain things proactively, like awareness of risk management. That means you should prioritize what? You need to prioritize potential consequences. Means you need to make sure that the area where potential consequences will be high should be given the good priority. Okay, it should be priority one kind of a thing. So based on the potential consequences chances, or based on the principle, or based on the priority, you should know that what will be the potential consequences if something is happen. Next is risk management. Risk mitigation should be sufficient to achieve what? Acceptable consequences from residual risk. So there are still some risk which are residual. Okay, so if in case of any compromise happen because of those residual risks, then it should be fall under acceptable consequences. Acceptable consequences. Next is, of course, there are certain risk acceptance, and that too based on understanding of potential consequences of residual risk. Okay, so we also need to understand the risk acceptance that is based on understanding of potential consequences. So here we are seeing acceptable consequences, here we are seeing potential consequences of residual risk. All right, so that is something which we are covering as a part of second part of, or second point of outcome of information security governance. Now let's see third point, which is value delivery. All right, now as a part of a value delivery, you need to optimize the security investment. optimize investment, security investment. Okay, how we are going to optimize this? There are many ways. The number one is you need to set standard, a standard set of security practice. So this include what? This include security baseline. If you establish security baseline, then that definitely that will be part of standardization of security practices. And of course, everything should be streamlined, and that will definitely going to help your organization to optimize the security investment. Next point is information security overhead should be minimum level. Okay, so next point comes under value delivery will be information security overhead, means wherever there are chances of investment something extra that are maintained at minimum level, and but that level should be making sure that is enable the organization to achieve its objective. Okay, third point is you should properly prioritize prioritize and distribute efforts to area where greater or greatest probability, number one, and highest impact highest impact and business benefit. Third one is so you should prioritize your money in a, or you should invest your money in a way to get greatest probability of or the highest impact in terms of business benefit. Next point is you should also take care of complete solution. Fourth is complete solution. Once you are investing in the security part, then you should understand the solution what you are looking for is complete, and complete means what? That is covering organization and process well in terms of technology, and also it should cover the end to end business ask or objective of that business. So the solution what you're looking for, it should be covering the organization and all the processes well, and that include the technology and whatever the business asks end to end. It should meet the objective of the business completely. And of course, last but not the least, a continuous improvement. Culture based, this should be one of the culture, continuous improvement culture on understanding that security is of course ongoing thing, is an ongoing process, not an event. Security is not an event that may happen just once. It's definitely is an ongoing process. Okay, that's all about uh, third point. Now coming to the fourth point. Fourth point is resource optimization. What does it mean when we say resource optimization? Basically, using information security knowledge and infrastructure efficiently and effectively to make sure that knowledge is captured, number one, and is available. So the first point is under resource optimization is knowledge which is captured properly should be documented and whenever is required is available. Number two, document security processes and practices. We should document security processes and practices documented. All right. Number three is we should develop security architecture to define and utilize infrastructure resource efficiently. So basically we should develop this security architecture to making sure that infrastructure resources are used efficiently. So that is three topics which we have covered as a part of a resource optimization, fourth point. Now coming to the next point, fifth out of six, objective or outcome of information security governance, which is performance measurement. Okay, so basically performance measurement, here we are talking about something metrics kind of thing. So basically monitoring and reporting on information security process to ensure that objectives are achieved. All right, that's one. And this also include number A, a defined, or rather I would say there should be some kind of a matrix that is defined and agreed, and of course it should be meaningful that are properly aligned with strategic objective. Okay, and provide information, and this matrix also provide information that need for effective decision. Based on that, we can draw some effective decision and will help the management and operations for taking any action or activity. So, as a part of a performance measure, we should create certain metrics, certain graphs, certain set of record or certain kind of report that is been defined and agreed, and that would represent some meaningful data, and that is aligned with strategic objective for your organization and provide information that is very effective in taking any decision by a management or your operation team for certain action or activity. All right, that's one. Next is measurement process that help identifying of any shortcoming. Okay, next point is the measurement process should help in identify any shortcoming and also provide some feedback. Okay, shortcoming means wherever, let's say, a management should be focused to do certain strategy and provide feedback on progress and made that resolving issue. So basically, the measurement process is definitely going to help in identifying any shortcoming and also provide some feedback on the progress made in resolving any issue. Next point is basically is independent assurance that provided by external assessment or audit. So by having certain activities or certain audit periodically, we are assuring that the measures or the performance measure we are taking are adequate or if there is any lag. Next is there must be some criteria for separating the most useful matrix, most useful data, or most useful information from the variety of things that are measuring, from the variety of things that are measuring or that can be measured. Means the management or information security governance should focus on the outcome of multiple many ways of getting those data, but it should be having some criteria that it separates the most useful data so that management can focus invest and do the needful to increase the probability of happening any good thing. So next is 6, which is assurance of process integration. Okay, so basically this point is covering the integration part. So we have to make sure that integrating all relevant assurance factors to ensure that process operate intended from end to end. For example, we should determine all organizations assurance functions, that all organization functions are properly integrated. And not only this, we should also develop formal relationship with other assurance functions. And next is coordinating all assurance functions coordinating all assurance functions for most for more cost effective security. So if you know there are multiple functions or there are so many functions in any typical organizations which we are covering, so those should be properly coordinated. Means if in case of any threat, risk, vulnerabilities, then of course there should be some kind of a notification or alert should be generated to certain level of user, so they can coordinate, they can ensure that those solutions will be given most or more cost effective. Next is ensuring that roles and responsibilities R&R between assurance function overlap and leave no gap in protection. Overlaps and leave no gap in protection. And the last one is we should employ systems approach. There should be certain system approach or systematic system approach in information security for planning, deployment, metrics and management. So basically the last one is employing a system approach or systematic approach to the information security for any kind of a planning, deployment, metrics or management. So friend, these are the 6 topics or 6 points or 6 basic outcomes what we should expect from any information security governance. Alright friends, that's all from this video. Be in touch. Bye bye and take care.